The static came first. James had grown used to strange dreams ever since he escaped the Bluetooth prison, but this wasn't a dream. It was sharper, heavier, like standing at the edge of a cliff, knowing gravity was waiting. The white noise that filled his skull snapped into shape. He saw a banquet hall, brilliant chandeliers, marble floors. At the center of it all, Senator Elijah Keating, a rare politician who carried himself with truth. Hope radiated from the scene, and then, like spilled ink across a white page, the vision twisted. A figure slipped through the crowd, a shadow wrapped in rage. A knife flashed. Keating gasped, blood blooming across his shirt as screams tore the hall apart. James lunged forward, but his feet wouldn't move. He could only watch as hope was snuffed out. The static slammed back. James shot upright, drenched in sweat. His AI-enhanced mind was already firing, passing the fragments. He replayed the vision, pulling data from the reflections in wine glasses. The stitching on the assassin's gloves, the time stamp on a projector screen. Banquet hall, Washington, D.C., time of the attack, 2 days from now. He whispered the countdown to himself. 48 hours. Then, burned into the back of his eyes, the blurred face appeared again clear at this time. A killer, real, waiting. James moved quickly, his rhythm honed by countless nightmares. He didn't need a terminal anymore. Closing his eyes, he let the digital world bloom in his mind. His consciousness cast a net across servers and surveillance feeds. His vision had left him coordinates, a geotag stitched into the static, pointing to an abandoned storage yard on the outskirts of D.C. By dawn, he was there. Rows of rusted shipping containers stretched like skeletal teeth. He found one with a fresh padlock, snapped it open, and dragged a heavy duffel bag into the light. His stomach clenched when he unzipped it. Inside, a sniper rifle, pistols, knives identical to the one in his vision, and a notebook filled with surveillance photos of Keating. The assassin was preparing. He was so focused he didn't notice the headlights until they washed over him. A black SUV barreled into the yard. 4 men in tactical gear stepped out, rifles leveled. Donovan, one of them, barked, his voice rough with hate. "You weren't supposed to find this." James straightened, a cold smile on his face. "I wasn't supposed to find a lot of things." And yet, the rifles roared. He dove behind a container as bullets shredded the steel. His mind raced, calculating trajectories, firing arcs. He moved like a shadow, appearing behind one gunman, snapping his neck. He slammed another into the SUV, ribs cracking. He caught a third man's wrist, forced the muzzle down, and let the recoil shatter his knee. The last one hesitated just long enough. James disarmed him, drove a blade into his thigh, and pinned him against the container. "You can't stop it," the man spat through blood-filled teeth. "They're already in position." James leaned in, his eyes burning with something not quite human. "Then tell me where they are." The man just smiled, then passed out. James stood in the silence, chest heaving, the countdown ticking in his mind. 44 hours left. The duffel bag at his feet felt heavier with each step. In the container, a burner phone buzzed faintly. He picked it up. One unsent draft message. "Delivery ready. 2,200 hours. Hotel suite confirmed." That was his next lead. He holed up in an abandoned loft, spread the weapons and the phone across the floor, and plugged into the system. The AI spark in his mind came alive, tracing the burner signal to a secure channel. Fragments of data swirled, times, payments, encrypted images. One name kept surfacing, the Shepherd. Whoever that was, they were bankrolling the assassination. The vertigo from the data dive hit him hard. 40 hours, he muttered, and left the loft. The hotel lobby gleamed with marble and glass. Guests smiled, unaware that maps of the nation's capital were being drawn in blood 1 floor above. James used a stolen keycard, went up the elevator, and slid into suite 1423. The room reeked of gun oil. Blueprints of the banquet hall were spread across a table. A laptop sat on the bed. James placed his hand on the keyboard and sank his consciousness into the machine. The encryption shattered. The files contained video rehearsals of the assassination, men timing their movements to the second. And there, at the center, the same faceless figure from his vision. The door burst open. 6 armed men stormed in. The fight was pure chaos. Gunfire shredded curtains, splintered the table. James threw one man through the television, used another as a shield, snapped bones, slammed skulls. When it was over, he stood over the last man, who coughed blood and whispered, You're chasing smoke. The knife isn't the plan. It's theater. Then he died. James stared at the blueprints, his pulse hammering. 36 hours left. On the streets, James could feel eyes on him. Cameras turned his way. Pedestrians lingered too long. The shepherd's network was everywhere. Every few hours, another ambush, another fight in the dark. His fists bled, his ribs cracked, but his mind only grew sharper. Each kill gave him another clue, another piece of the trail. It all led to the riverfront. 24 hours left. The warehouse loomed on the docks, windows black. James cut through the chained doors and stepped inside. Candles burned in a circle. Maps were tacked to the walls. And there, standing in the flickering light, was the killer from his vision. At last her face was clear. Pale skin, gaunt cheeks, eyes like frostbitten steel. A knife glinted in her hand. It was Helena. Jamisha said, "I've been waiting." James froze. "What do you mean?" She smiled. "We share the same visions. Two people cursed to see fragments of time. But where you see hope, I see truth. Keating must die. It is written." James tightened his fists. "I don't believe in written destinies." Helena lunged. Steel clashed in the candlelight. Knife against fists, flesh against bone. She was inhumanly fast, fueled by the same visions that haunted James. But he was faster, smarter. Every calculation, every strike, happened in nanoseconds. At last, he turned the knife back on her, driving it into her chest. Helena gasped, blood bubbling at her lips. "It won't matter," she whispered. "The shepherd always wins." And she was gone. 12 hours left. James staggered from the warehouse, bleeding, bruised, but he had done it. Helena was dead. At the banquet that evening, Senator Keating raised his glass in peace. No attack came. Hope was preserved. James watched from a rooftop, satisfaction washing over him. 8 hours left. Then, the burner phone buzzed. He answered. A mechanical, distorted voice spoke. "You played your part well, James. You killed the knife. You think you saved him. But the knife was never the plan. It was the distraction." James's blood ran cold. "Who are you?" The voice chuckled. "I am the shepherd, and you've just triggered the true event." Static hissed, then silence. James looked back at the banquet hall. Keating was safe, but across the city, sirens wailed. Explosions rumbled. Something had begun. 4 hours left. James chased the signals, but the shepherd stayed one step ahead. Systems collapsed across the city. Blackouts, data leaks, riots sparked by false alarms. The assassination was never the endgame. It was the match that lit the fire. James fought his way through the chaos. His body screamed for rest, but the AI inside kept him moving. This wasn't about saving one man. It was about saving the timeline itself. 2 hours left. At dawn, James stood on a rooftop, the city burning below. He had stopped the murder but unleashed something worse. The shepherd was still out there, faceless, everywhere. Static rippled across his mind, showing fragments of futures yet to come. Wars, plagues, lies. The battle was only beginning. He whispered to the morning air, "This isn't over." The politician lived by in the shadows. The shepherd's true design was unfolding. James knew his visions would drag him into darker corridors of time, forcing him to hunt killers before they struck. And with each step the question burned. Was he really saving time? Or walking exactly where the shepherd wanted him to? The countdown had only begun. Thank you so much for watching the story of James. If you enjoyed this journey into the shadows, please hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss a video. For my full content, go check me out on my podcast, Don't Drink That, anywhere you get your podcasts. To submit your short stories to be made into a video or read aloud on my podcast, email me at don'tdrinkthat25@gmail.com. See you next time. Stay safe, and remember, don't drink that.